to well, a lot of Christians, let alone non-believers. But I think that's a good thing once they understand what communion is, like from John 6, how John describes what Jesus says, how you eat of my body, you can receive eternal life, and we can still receive that same blessing even after Jesus' death. Um, and I'd love to hear you expand on that a little bit. But what I think is really helpful is when we can understand that Jesus established something, even though that he died thousands of years ago, we can still have the same thing that he gave us on the cross today through the Lord's Supper.
Oh, for real, yeah. That's it's a great gift that we're given by Jesus's own words of saying that, this is my body, this is my blood, which is given for you. It's really interesting in terms of, we've been talking about life and death here, right? And so you have an interesting sort of spectrum there, when Jesus talks about his own body and blood. When he talks about his own body and blood being present in the sacrament, he's alive. And so when he says to his disciples, this is my body, this is my blood, it's not like that is a dead body and blood. That is a living body and blood that somehow he's able to communicate that into the bread and the wine, and have it be in with and under an extension of himself. And so you have that kind of interesting moment there. Jesus then dies, and and this is where I think it's really sort of an interesting to think about when we take communion, because Jesus dies and nobody has communion. Like, there's no evidence of that anyway. None of the gospel writers give that to us. But after that, Jesus raises again, and now Jesus is alive again. And now, as he is alive again, we get that same alive body and blood from Jesus, except that now it is this body and blood that has gone through this ordeal, and it's this body and blood that has a kind of a more of a story in it. And because now that body and blood truly has been poured out for us, now that that body truly has been broken for us. And so, I think it's a very interesting thing that the body is live body and the blood is live blood, instead of it being, sort of dead like a Old Testament sacrifice would be. But Jesus is actually communicating his true life to us in the sacrament, and it's living life. It's not just like we're taking, a dead body and blood, which is, when I was younger, when I was a little kid, when I thought about Jesus's body and blood being truly there, for some reason in my head, I always thought about it as being dead, because, oh well, it's his body and blood. My body and blood is, normally speaking, is in me. It's not communicated out to other people, but Jesus has that ability to do that.